Welcome back to Squawk Box. Microsoft making what, in this environment, arguably is a very unusual move. It is backing Anthropic in its AI startups fight with the Pentagon, which is more broadly with the Trump administration. In a court filing, Microsoft, in what's called an amicus brief, which is a friend of the court, effectively, saying a judge should issue a temporary restraining order that would block the Defense Department's designation of Anthropic as a supply chain risk for all existing contracts. Without an order, Microsoft warning that it and other companies would have to act quickly to change existing product and contract configurations used by the Pentagon. In November, Microsoft announced plans to invest up to $5 billion in Anthropic. It's worth noting a couple things here. There's about 130 developers in Silicon Valley that have also filed a friend of the court amicus brief in support of Anthropic. No other major tech company has done such a thing. I mean, we talk about, I always talk about CEO silence. This is a very interesting situation because Microsoft happens to be one of the biggest government contractors in the country. So when you start to think about what true retribution looks like and also truly standing up looks like when you actually care about what you're doing, they have more to lose, interestingly, than just about anybody else. Even more interesting, Amazon, which happens to be one of the earliest investors in Anthropic, reportedly in a meeting with Pete Hegseth, Andy Jassy, did not support Anthropic. And arguably, you could make the argument that he and other companies like his have been scared about standing up to this administration. So this is fascinating that the biggest government, one of the biggest government contractors. Now, arguably, I'm imagining that part of the sort of calculus to do such a thing is that Microsoft says, we're in everybody's business, meaning we are so locked in to the government, it is going to be very hard for Pete Hegseth or for the president to say, well, now we're going to rip Microsoft out of all of our systems, because that would be supremely painful. But I've talked about how I think this legal case is somewhat open and shut. And I think you're going to see, I think this could be a watershed in terms of others that are going to come forward.
It's not going to happen. And companies also are going to realize there, but for the grace of God, go us.
What happens with Palantir?
In other words, if you let it happen to Anthropic, maybe you don't want to say anything, but down the road it could come back. And political considerations could be.
I think, by the way,
this is did you read this? This is a fascinating piece. This guy goes back to, I don't know, 100 years to a similar situation about a weapons system in the UK, and they did a similar thing, ended up missing out on one of the biggest moves, cut off their nose to spite their face, and the whole good for China. That's what they're saying. If you take one of the top companies, Anthropic, in developing things, and you basically make it much more difficult for them to advance and to do business, and I mean, it could be in anything they want to do.
In an arms race.
Basically an arms race. I don't think it's going to happen, though. I think eventually that Pete Hegseth
that would be my guess. My guess is at some point there's going to be a resolution that's reached. Palantir uses Maven software that is operated by Anthropic.
Right.
You start to think through the implications of what that would mean. Who's not been silent on this? Elon Musk, who's a competitor, obviously.
Yes, he wants the business.
He said, is there a more hypocritical company than Anthropic? Is something that he posted on X in the last 15
But he has been trolling. He's been
so
trolling
has Sam Altman,
Anthropic.
who moved to be very opportunistic by stepping in and picking this up. So their top competitors have been pretty
Sam, I have a slightly different view of, because Sam's actually was on our air and publicly actually supportive of Anthropic. And if you actually go and look at the deal that he brokered, which I have suggested is so unusual because it basically is the same deal, and which is, to me, it is demonstrative of how political the decision was by this administration and Pete Hegseth and the Treasury Department and every other piece of this government that's now decided they don't want to do this.
Sam Altman had to apologize because he said it looked like they were being very opportunistic, which it did. They signed the same deal a day later.
No question. But at the same time, I think if you go look at what Sam has said repeatedly, he is not trolling Anthropic. He's actually he's not been supportive in the context of clearly trying to get a deal too. By the way, I think it's actually good for the government to have multiple deals. The idea that you're exclusive to one
what happened with
these services or the other is not
what was the initial
idea.
Anger that the Defense Department or Department of War gleaned from Anthropic in the Maduro raid? Was there a complaint from Anthropic that their AI was used, and they said we don't want it used in something like...
They asked the question about whether it was used.
Right, and where was that? Where was
Palantir,
that? Right, and that was
Palantir
said, yeah.
Said, yes, this is used.
And it was used in targeting
and what you had was
too.
you had Emil Michael get very frustrated and angry, A, that Anthropic was asking the question.
Yeah.
B, that maybe Palantir was providing the answer, arguing that that was classified information that Anthropic shouldn't know one way or the other.
All right, so that kind of started. And
but
then,
it's just the relationship.
But the internal memo
Emil
and the
Michael
dictator and bending
Dario
that was
is broken.
stupid. That was stupid, but it doesn't take away from the original.
Leader.
Right.
It feels like they're getting shut down.
But it does have the, they mentioned the word woke about 100 times here. It does have the perception of having a lot of ex-Biden.
I don't know. Not wanting to be involved with the mass surveillance of the United States citizens does not seem like.
Well, that's only one of the autonomous.
I don't think this is about
weapons
part
is.
Well,
that's
not.
whether it's right or wrong. It is to Pete Hegseth in the defense.
That might be, but
right.
the reason why that doesn't seem to be true, actually, why that is actually just a false.
Then what are they mad? Then why don't they?
The reason it's a false idea is they were willing to accept virtually, as I said, the exact same term from OpenAI.
But,
so if you believe
OpenAI didn't say, I'm not going to bend my knee to a dictator.
You're saying because of the memo?
I think I know, but I just think all of it in total puts a target.
That's the
I
problem.
understand.
The politics are the problem. That is the problem.
I got it, but I understand it.
But what I think is arguably even a bigger problem is the fact that an Amazon or some of these other companies don't feel comfortable to stand up and say this is cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. And you have a company like Microsoft who happens to do that. So I'm giving some credit this morning to Microsoft for actually being willing to stand up and say what they actually believe.
Right.
By the way, the other thing that's been fascinating is a lot of engineers want to now go work for Anthropic. You're seeing it move up the charts. You're seeing companies want to work with a company that's willing to stand up for its values.
So is it not going to hurt it, you think, in the long term?
I think it's possible it doesn't hurt it in the long term. I actually think this could be one of those watershed moments where we actually say, you know what, standing up for your values in an environment where you're not supposed to is actually going to help this company. And that's what this company was sort of built on. It was a company that left OpenAI. The founders left OpenAI because they wanted to build a company that they thought was genuinely values-based. And guess what? They've actually stood up for them. They have not bent. And I think there's a lot of value to that. And by the way, now Microsoft's doing it too.
But their software was integrated into
let's see
Palantir and was used for targeting and things too. It's like these are all degrees of gray.
100%. And that's why it's so interesting to see a company come out and say, let's try to reach a different deal.
Well, it's not that. I mean, you've seen a lot of people on Anthropic's side. A lot of people on it.
By the way, there is a possibility, others have even speculated, unfortunately, that this terrible tragedy where these kids were targeted, that it might have been on a list that was either generated, approved by, or something, through the Anthropic system, meaning, you do now have AI.
That's what I mean. We don't know.
Identifying different targets.
You made a mistake.
Yeah.
It may be.
Potentially.
But by the way, may also be a good example of what Dario has been saying, which is
that it's not ready.
It's not ready. It may not be ready for prime time to be used, especially for autonomous weapons and autonomous decisions, meaning forgetting about people in the loop. He's basically saying if there's no people in the loop, this doesn't work.
Doesn't work, right.
And you may have a military that's not doing that. By the way, you have a military that clearly is saying it doesn't want that on one side, and yet is willing to accept that by using OpenAI. Explain that.
Well, it wasn't targeted. We're not sure exactly what happened, I guess, at this point.